event at the Hoxton was just all Dutch. Do you mix between Dutch and English?
Yes, we do. We actually have an international event coming up at the Hoxton on June the 2nd, where we do an English language salon, and it's also focused on collecting international. Yeah. Oh, let's go to you first. Yeah, sorry, I'll get back to you.
My question. So for people like us, for our audience, what is the reasonable percentage of our income to spend on art?
Oh God, I don't want to make that call for you. I mean, it really depends. Our last salon at the Hoxton, we had two very young collectors. They were 21 and 26 years old. He just graduated and she was still in school, and they have already collected, I think, like 50 original works and 30 editions. So they pretty much do like Herb and Dorothy Vogel did. They eat, you know, they don't go vacations and they don't do other stuff. They spend all their money on collecting art. But if you want to save up to collect art, I mean, that's a good way to do it, but there's also the Kunstkoopregeling here in the Netherlands. I don't know, some people may know about this already, but it's a great way to buy art and not having to save up for it. So you can buy an artwork and you pay up 10%, I think, of the total price, and then you pay off the rest in 12, 24, or 36 months, and it's interest-free. So it's an interesting way to buy art without like having this big cut from your paycheck. Yeah. Sorry, with that blue scarf. Yeah.
I was just wondering if you still participating in your Hoxton thing.
I actually didn't check this morning. The next one is April 14, and the theme is photography. And I think, I don't know, there's somebody here from the Hoxton. I don't know if you checked. Is it sold out? Do you know? I haven't checked either. Yesterday there were just a few, like 4 tickets left, so maybe. We have a newsletter, so if you go to our Facebook page, there's a sign-up button, and if you do that, you go to our sign-up page for the newsletter. Sorry, pretty complicated way to say that. So if you sign up for the newsletter, you get a message of when the pre-sale starts for all of our events, so you're the first to know, because the tickets usually go fast, because we try to keep the groups relatively small so people feel comfortable with asking stupid questions or interesting questions. Yeah. Yes.
So of the young collectors that you're speaking to, engaging with now, are they buying art as an investment, or are they buying it because they want something nice and nice?
I think we always tell everybody, especially when you start collecting, you should collect what you love. And I actually think that's also, if you're an older collector, you should always collect what you love. And it's really hard to make an assessment, even for people that are professionals, on what art is going to be a great investment. Of course, some pieces, but then you talk about really expensive pieces, and artists, you pretty much know that they're going to always be in demand. But especially regarding young artists, it's a bit of a leap of faith, and it's sort of an extra cool bonus if you've managed to acquire a piece that ends up being like super valuable, because then you have a good eye. But I would never have that as a reason to buy a certain artwork. Yeah.
You've been talking a lot about, of course, building a private collection and all that. And I think it's very interesting because I'm just wondering, what is your opinion on building a private collection in contrast to building a public collection as in a museum, like here, where everybody can see the art versus a lot of, like, if you take a look at all the art in the world, probably a big part of it is locked up in private collections and in private residences instead of it being available to the public. For me, art is really like something that should be shared, that should be shared with the community and with the world. What's your opinion on that?
But actually, a lot of art collectors do share their collection because they give a lot of loans to museums. You will often see in different shows that there's a sign also by artworks. There's a loan from a private collection, and sometimes even a collection is named. So that's a way that people give back. But also a lot of art collectors do have a storage with their works, but museums do too. So I guess there's so much art in the world that it's impossible to show it to everyone all the time. But I do think it's your responsibility as a collector to share the artworks. Of course, as a young collector, usually the Louvre isn't calling on your first week to ask you for a loan, but you never know. But, yeah, so I guess they do share in a way their collection. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, for sure. It's just like if you walk, there's quite a lot of very big, very famous pieces that have never publicly been shown because they've always been locked up.
Yes.
We locked up inside of it negatively, but so yeah.
Yeah,
it's interesting to see people
and there's also a lot of art collectors that don't like to share what works they own because of security reasons. Because if people know that you have super expensive artworks in your home, there's also that side to it. So that makes it complicated sometimes. But this is something I know nothing about, but I'll say it anyway. Yesterday in the Parool there was a article about a new museum opening on the Museumplein. I googled it, I could find nothing about it. Apparently it's going to be called the Modern Contemporary Museum, and it's going to be in Villa Albrecht, I think is the name. So it's the beautiful red brick villa that's on the Museumplein. And so they are going to show private collections. So they don't have their own collection, but they make a show with private collections, is what I read in the article. So that might be an interesting new development, to show private collections in a museum setting as a focus for one institution. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
You talk, of course, a lot about actually collecting the art, but how do you feel about, I know in the Netherlands you have these art lending schemes, Kunstlening, for example.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
Well, the thing is, you have the SBK here in Amsterdam, for instance, and they really have a big collection. It's an interesting way to start because you also usually, I think, the money that you spend on lending the work, if you end up wanting to buy it, they deduct it from the total cost or something like that. But it's hard for institutions like that to keep a fresh collection. So it's hard for them to acquire new pieces that are super contemporary or really new. There is a gallery in Den Haag called Hayden that is actually very actively acquiring new works all the time by super young and great contemporary artists that I would definitely recommend if you're interested in that. And they also do collection courses and they're very much invested in that. Yeah. Okay. Could be here all day. Yes.
We talked about collection, keeping the works as to build up your own collection and contribute to the art world of having it end up in museums. How much have you concerned yourself with the business of it, the investment of a person, piece of art, and then looking to sell that later on to kind of use it as a means of income? Probably what these billionaire oligarchs are mostly concerned themselves with.
Yeah, there's people that specifically do that, sort of like how people flip houses, they flip artworks. But I don't think that is a very wise career path to take. But I wish you the best of luck if that is what I inspired you to do today, obviously. No, it's like I said, it's very difficult, especially when you're on a smaller budget. Maybe you guys aren't, I don't know. But if you're on a smaller budget, it's extremely difficult to buy something that will. But it does happen. We have a photo series of young collectors that we'll start putting out in the world somewhere over the next couple of months. And one of the women that we took a photo of and interviewed, so we talked to them about their first artwork and what other works they've acquired. She actually bought a photograph for, I think, maybe 2,000 euros and then sold it for 25,000 euros. So it happens, but never count on it.